Sheriff of Nottingham is a 3 to 5 player bluffing and bribery game in which you play as a merchant trying to deliver goods to the market of Nottingham. Each player takes a turn as the sheriff, trying to prevent illegal goods from passing through into the market, or bent on making a little coin on the side. Do whatever it takes to pass the most goods, legal or illegal, through the sheriff checkpoint, and by the end of the game, be the richest merchant in Nottingham. If this is your first time here, Play to Win is the board game series in which I teach you not only how to play board games, but also how to bluff, bribe, and smuggle your way to victory. Hit that like button, and when I'm sheriff next, I promise I won't check your bag. Now, Prince John requests our presence back in Nottingham. Pick a merchant taking the corresponding stand and bag. Every player starts with 50 gold. That's in 1 20, 5 5s, and 5 1s. Deal every player 6 cards and set up the draw and discard pile. Discard piles have 5 cards face up in both. Alright, who came to show off? Whoever has the most cash on their person takes the first turn, being the sheriff. Sheriff of Nottingham takes place over 5 phases of 2 rounds. A round ends when every player at the table has taken a turn as the sheriff. The market phase allows every player who is not that round sheriff to exchange cards from their hand with the draw and discard pile. Now, load your merchant bag. Choose between 1 and 5 cards from your hand and place them into the bag. These are going to be the goods you're trying to get through the sheriff's checkpoint. During the declaration phase, starting with the player to the left of the sheriff, everybody goes around the table declaring what is in their bag. You have to be honest about the number of cards in your bag, but you don't have to be honest about its contents. In your declaration, you declare one type of legal good: apples, bread, cheese, or chickens, regardless of what's in your bag. Anything in your bag that you do not declare, even if it is technically a legal good, counts as contraband for the next phase, the inspection. During the inspection phase, the sheriff takes every player's bag and tries to deduce who is telling the truth about the contents of their bag and who is lying. Merchants can do whatever it takes in order to get the sheriff to let their bag pass the checkpoint unchecked, or to make sure that the sheriff checks somebody else's bag. This is where the bribery comes in. Popular bribes include coins, items from your merchant stand, legal or illegal, items from your bag, and promises for future rounds. The sheriff takes their time listening to everybody, trying to suss out who the liars are with tight pockets before making their decision. If offered, the sheriff accepts or declines a bribe for a bag before handing it back to its owner or deciding to open it. Then they collect the bribe if able. As soon as the sheriff hands you back the bag or opens it up, the decision is final. The final phase is the end of game round. If the sheriff let your bag through unchecked, take out its contents. Put the legal goods face up in the designated spots under the merchant stand, and the contraband goes under the merchant stand at the top face down. This is a secret, though you do have to reveal the number of contraband that you snuck through. If the sheriff decided to check your bag, one of 2 things happen. 1, if you were honest, the sheriff pays you the fine price located at the bottom right of each card. Then you get to take all your items back and put them underneath your merchant stand. If you lied, you paid the sheriff the fine price for each card you did not declare, and those cards are confiscated, placed in the discard pile by the sheriff. You get to keep any cards that you did declare and put them underneath your merchant stand. Everybody draws back up to 6 cards, and the sheriff rotates clockwise. At the end of the game, the player with the most wealth wins. Wealth is calculated by adding up your coins, total card value for legal and illegal goods, and the coveted king and queen bonuses, also known as the player with the first and second most of each card type. Play to Win is not like any other board game series. I can't just teach you how to play a game. My competitive spirit would be screaming. I must teach you how to be the richest person in Nottingham. Prince John has been at the top for a little too long, if you ask me. During the market phase, you draw cards before you discard them. Make sure when you discard your cards to place the contraband on top of other legal goods in the discard piles. That means you can put 1 contraband over here and 1 contraband over here. Make sure that nobody has easy access to legal goods, as this is the fastest way to gain points. If somebody picks up a lot of contraband, remember the number of contraband they picked up. During the declaration phase, if they declare more legal goods than they could possibly have, based on the number of contraband that they picked up, make sure to remind the sheriff. Throw them right under the bus. When deciding what to focus, there are 2 types of cards that are the best to push through, and that is cheese and bread.
Cheese.
These cards are often overlooked because they are not the highest value card and do not give you the highest king or queen bonus. This makes them the perfect cards to collect and push through. Everybody else will probably be focusing either apples for their king and queen bonus, or chickens because they are worth the most. Your goal is to be cheese or bread king. Now for the king and queen bonuses. The apple bonus, the king gets 20, the queen gets 10. For cheese and bread, the king gets 15 and the queen gets 10. And for chickens, the king gets 10 and the queen gets 5. Card values, apples are worth 2, cheese and bread are worth 3, chickens are worth 4. The strategy here is to make sure you are the king of either cheese or bread, whichever you decide to focus. Then, try to sneak in a couple queens here and there. If you are trying to get king in multiple categories, you become an obvious target. But if you notice somebody is crazy leading in chickens, therefore everybody is ignoring chickens, don't be afraid to sneak a couple in there and get the extra queen bonus. You'd be surprised how often king and queen bonuses tie. So if you can tie a queen bonus, not only does that get you a couple extra points, but it subtracts some extra points that people might have been relying on to win. If there is a tie for the king bonus, the king and queen bonuses are added together and divided evenly amongst the tied players. If the queen bonus is tied, that number is cut in half, rounded down. The key strategy to this game is counterintuitive to everything that we have talked about. This is a game of bluffing and bribery. So do neither. If you are honest about what you put in your bag and you only put through legal goods, you are going to win the game. The winner of Sheriff of Nottingham is often not who wins the most, but it's who loses the least. By trying to sneak through contraband, especially if you're a bad liar, you are more at risk of wasting an entire turn by having to pay more money than you are putting into your merchant stand. Contraband is expensive, and it's expensive to have to pay the fines for. Not only are you then losing, but you are helping whoever plays the sheriff win by a greater margin. It seems counterintuitive because the contraband items are worth so much. If you get caught with a contraband item, the fine price is so high that you immediately start losing. Contraband items don't go towards the king and queen bonuses at the end. And any bribes you have to pay are just giving somebody more and more chances at victory. It seems easy to give a couple coins here, give a couple coins there, and then suddenly you're out of coins and you've given people 50 points to go up against whatever points that you have left. Do not bluff and do not bribe. Giving people coins, or especially items from your merchant stand, is giving points away. The only thing that you actually need at the end to win. When you place the sheriff, check as few bags as possible. This also seems counterintuitive to the game, as people might be putting contraband through and you want to catch them, you want to get that fine price and prevent them from putting contraband under their merchant stand. I'll repeat, the winner of Sheriff of Nottingham is not who wins the most, but it's who loses the least. As the sheriff, this is the most lucrative part of the game. So many people check a couple bags too many and suddenly they have no coins. You can go from a competitive player in this game to being 100% out of this game in one turn as the sheriff. Finally. And this one's not for the faint of heart. I have the spiciest strategy. Know the people that you're playing with. You gotta pick one. Probably the sketchiest person at the table. That's not yourself. And you have to make a deal. This deal happens when they are the sheriff. You convince them to not check your bag in order for a favor in a future round. Don't check my bag this time, and I will not check your bag, no matter what you put in it. Put 5 in it. I don't care, I won't check it. This would be the only time I suggest putting contraband in your bag, because you have to gain this person's trust. If you tell them not to check your bag, and then you only take out legal goods, when they do it, they're going to be less likely to trust you. After getting through this contraband successfully, wait until you're sheriff next. This promise that you will not check their bag no matter what is a bold-faced lie. This is the spiciest of strategies. Only in certain situations do you have to uphold bribes in Sheriff of Nottingham. When you offer gold or items from your merchant stand, you give them this after they give you your bag back. If you offer them items from the bag after it's been opened, if you have that item in the bag, you give it to them. If you do not have that item in the bag, the bribe is not able to be fulfilled. They are out of luck. The other time you don't have to uphold bribes is when they're for future rounds. As soon as that person ends their round as the sheriff, It's up in the air whether or not you decide you want to uphold that bribe. And in this situation, you absolutely do not. This player, now having gained their trust, is more likely to put more contraband, if not all contraband, into the bag. You check that, you're gonna be rocking 30, 40 coins, and you've basically just won yourself the game. Friendships can be mended, but victory is forever. And that's the game. Be an honest merchant and a sneaky friend, and you've got yourself a win. Hit the like button and I'll give you an apple for my bag. I promise it's in there. I post new play to win videos every week to help you play and win more games. If you think you have a strategy that could rival mine, first, you're wrong. But leave it in the comments down below and we'll compare. Until next time, best of luck merchants, and always play to win. Bye!